Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, you have my March TBR and the return of a readathon. Or readathon to my TBR, I should say. Also, I did this thing where I made a TBR that's probably, definitely, a little bit ambitious. Am I going to change it? Probably not. Am I going to get through it? Well, once I set a goal, I pretty much stick to it. See, I was starting and then I looked at the number of books and I went, oh, that's getting to be a lot. And then I realized, oh, spring break is in March. And I went, oh, I'm going to grab all of these books. Am I going to read 15 books a day? Obviously that's hyperbole. No, but a lot of these are middle grade and young adult, so I may be able to do it. We shall see. So without further ado, let's get into the actual books. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the two lists that I'm going through as part of my ongoing goals. And then I'm going to talk about the two things that I'm not going to be continuing this month unless I decide to pick it up later if I have more time, like if I magically read 50,000 books. Again, hyperbole. So the first of those is my Buzzwordathon TBR, and the buzzword is secret. And so for that one, I chose The Secrets of Solace. I am probably going to have to do a refresher on the first book in this series because it's been a while. But the best I can remember, because you can probably see that it's mechanical there, it's steampunk, and that's about all I can remember besides the fact that I really love the first book in the series. So I'm probably going to do a refresher on that before I get to this book. Then we have my 23 in 23. I have one of them out in front of me right now. Another one is in my other piles over here, that other readathon that I'll tell you about in just a moment. But the one that's not connected to that, I am going to get to it. I had it on a different TBR, but I switched it out, and that is The Devil's Highway by Luis Alberto Urrea. This also helps with my goal of reading more nonfiction. So there are other nonfictions in this pile, and I'll point that out when I get to it. So those are the two lists that I'm continuing on with. The two lists that the two things that I'm not continuing on with are my clearing off the oldest year on my TBR, and then also my starting a new series list. But both of those are held in reserve for if I have the time. When you see the number of books on my list, I probably will not be getting to those. The reason that I decided to use this month as one of those is because I didn't have a full 12, or in the case of 23 on that list. So I had a little bit of wiggle room, and there might be a month in the future where I get to those. Now, getting into the books that I have. So I have this printout here, but what I'll do in editing is I'll probably put up the actual graphic when I pull up the book and talk about it. So I've been part of the Final Book support group since it started, participated off and on whenever it worked out, but this month they are doing a full month readathon, and I'm really excited about it. And it's camp themed, and you can join different cabins. Yeah, I'm doing all 4 of them. Would you expect anything less of me? No, probably not. The piles that I have here are the 4 different cabins, and all 4 of these cabins have a final book in them, and I did not set out a separate final book for all 4 of these. There are final books in each of these stacks, so I will count that for that prompt. I'm not going to do 20 books just for that. And then there's another readathon that I'm going to be participating in, and that is Middle Grade March. There is some overlap with some of the books that I already have here, and also my goal of reading more arcs. So I will get to that after I talk about my Final Book support group books. And one thing that I discovered that I love when I was setting this TBR and I was picking out the books, I love having my little library across from me in the closet, and I just was pulling out books, laying them out. Okay, which ones fit these prompts? I love being able to go back there and choose them. So let's start with The Buzzard's Beak. For that one, besides the final book, the first prompt is use a letter generator. So I did kind of fudge a little bit on this one because the letter I got was U. I chose Along the Saltwise Sea by A. Deborah Baker because the series is called the Up and Under series. So that's what I'm counting for you. This is not a final book, I think, because I don't know when the third book has come out. I know I've seen people reading arcs of it, but this does get me a little bit farther, and it's short, and it's technically middle grade, so I am using it for the middle grade March prompt of Sky or Sea on the cover. Then we have a typography book, and this one, most of the books that I put in these piles are series. Some of them were not. This one is not, and this is going to be a heavy read, but one that I'm really interested in, and it also is the other book for the 23 and 23, and that is Medical Apartheid by Harriet A. Washington. Typography just means that's the only thing. There's not like illustrations or anything on it. So this is actually, I think, the only typography book that I have over there, especially that I was really interested in, and also it's really floppy. So I do like the feel of that. Then we have a paperback book, and this book also is a final book, so it fulfills the final book prompt, and that is Fire in the Streets by Kikla Magoon. It is also middle grade, and I've read Between Rock and River. I forget exactly what that's called, but it was really, really good, and I want to read this sequel companion story, so paperback and finishing off another series. And then lastly, it was go to the lookout something beautiful and intriguing. So, beautiful and alluring. I'm actually starting a series with this, but These Violent Delights. Beautiful and definitely alluring. So I'm excited to start this. So that was the Buzzard's Beak. Next we move over to the Wolf's Tooth. And the prompt for that one was the random generator one was a number generator. So what I did, I'll insert a picture. I laid out the books, I chose 5 of them, and then used a number generator. I forget which number it landed on. I'll probably be able to tell in editing and put the number up for you. But the book that it landed on was Lore Olympus, which is volume 3. It is the most current published book, so technically it's a final book, but I have 2 other final books in this pile. This will be definitely a quick read, and I'm really excited to get to it. Then we have a dark book, and for that I chose one that was dark in topic, heavy in topic, and that is the either sequel or companion to Jane Anonymous, and that one was really dark and heavy. So I'm assuming that this one will be as well, and this is the last secret you'll ever keep. Then we have a small book. This also fulfills a middle grade March prompt of an award winner of an award that is not the Newbery Award, and for that I have Gone Crazy in Alabama, which is book 3 of the, I don't know what the series is called, but anyway, it's book 3. I've read the first one and the second one, really enjoyed them, and this is a nice, again, floppy cover, middle grade, so it'll read quickly, it's small, and it fulfills a prompt on both Final Book Support Group and middle grade March. And lastly, I'm doing it again. I'm starting another series because the last prompt on this one is something wild and adventurous. Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto. I've heard lots of good things about this. They're Phoenix writers, so how much more wild and adventurous can you get? From there, we move over to the cabin of the Stag's Antler, and for that it was an emoji generator. I had difficulty finding an emoji generator that would actually work and cooperate for me. I finally did, and the emoji that it came up with was one that was a sun and clouds with it. And so for that one, yes, I am starting another series. And that one is Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This will let me try out Rebecca Roanhorse's writing. I don't think that middle grade is her primary age group that she writes in, but I'm excited to give her writing a try and maybe venture on to other things that she has written. Next, I'm going to go slightly out of order of the prompts, and we have a hardback book. So for that one, I am choosing Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow, which is book 2 in the Nevermore series. Really excited about that. And I go out of order because the next one is, so that's hardback book. The next one is illustrated cover, and we have Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morgan Crow. And this is the final book of this pile because the 4th book has not been published yet, so I'm counting this as a final book or a caught up book. And then lastly, we have something calm and majestic, and for that one, did I stretch it a little bit? Probably, but I've chosen Love and Olives. I think all of the books in this series are companions, and it's calm, it's contemporary, and then Olives, it's alluding to Greece, and everything in Greece is majestic, or at least the history is. So there we go, something calm and majestic. So now we're entering the fourth and final cabin, which is The Bear's Claw. So the first book I have here is not in a series, but I'm really excited about it. And it's because the random generator thing that you have for this one is a color generator. And I still had all my series out. And of course it generated a color that none of my series had. So I went for one that I'm really excited about, and that is Furia by Jamily Said Mendez. And this is about an Argentinian girl who is really talented at soccer, but doesn't have the infrastructure. Argentina doesn't have the infrastructure for that, even though they're like soccer mad. And I'm really intrigued to get to this. Then we have a light cover. And for that one, I have a plan. For that one, I went with A Gathering of Shadows by V. Schwab. This is book 2 in the Shades of Magic trilogy. And then the next one was Big Book. So choosing A Conjuring of Light, I mean, look at that in size. They are, this is a big book. Let me see how many pages approximately it is. Yeah, 624 pages. This is definitely a big book. And then lastly, we have something dark and dangerous. Am I stretching it a little bit? Probably. This is also not a book in a series, but it is one that I got very recently and was confused about it for a little while until I realized I got it from a giveaway on Library Thing, and that is Under the Naga Tail, a true story of survival, bravery, and escape from the Cambodian genocide. So dark and dangerous for sure. There's my final book support group list. That right there is 16 books. I already have the 2 from over here for a total of 18. And now we get to the middle grade March books. Apart from the 2 that I had over here, I have the group book, which is A Rover's Story. I'm really excited about it. I love Jasmine Wargo's writing. This is one that I got when I did that Owl Crate sale at the end of last year. Really excited about this. I could have used it for a bunch of other ones, but I didn't because I'm me. So that's book 19. The next 3 books that I have, because there's a total of 6 prompts for that, they are all arcs. So I'm going to insert a picture on one of these sides and tell you a little bit about the book. I have stand-in copies here in front of me just for when I hold it up for the thumbnail and also to remind me of what they are. And the first of those is one with a neurodivergent rep. And so I chose one. It might be stretching it a little bit, but I don't think it is. And I'm really excited about it. And it's called Rain Rising. The main character has to deal with the tragic loss of her brother, who was killed in a police standoff or something like that. And everything is erupting around her and her family. She's trying to be strong for them, but she's just so sad. I believe she is diagnosed with clinical depression, so I am counting that as neurodivergent rep. Then we have sci-fi, and my stand-in is The Last Quintessa. I've already read it, or I would read it again. Love this book. And for that one, then I chose another arc that I have, which is A Long Way Home. Do I remember anything about the synopsis other than it's a sci-fi and it's middle grade and I have an arc for it? No, but I will be reading that one. And so the last book I've chosen fulfills the prompt of middle grade book that was published within the last year. I have plenty of those with the arcs that I have yet to read. And so I chose Abuela Don't Forget Me by Rex Ogle. I forgot when I requested this how much I really did not like the first of these 3 companion memoirs about his childhood that Rex Ogle has written. I have a full review of that, which I will link in the description down below if I remember. But I want to read it so that I can up my completion on NetGalley because I love having good stats on that. And also it's going to be a quick read and maybe I'll be in a different mindset when I read it. I read the first of those, Free Lunch, which is the one that I didn't rate very highly. I read that in 2021. So maybe a different mindset when I'm approaching it. Maybe not. Maybe I won't like it as well. We shall see. That is 20 books officially on my TBR. Do I hope to actually read more than that? Yes. But for some reason, this one It feels like a lot of books, probably because it is. And I've gotten some big books on this list, and some other books that may make their way into my reading for March are some of the SCASL books that I have requested through Interlibrary Loan. I don't want to have to request them through Interlibrary Loan again, so I may go ahead and read those unless I can find like an audiobook or some other type of copy, and then I'll send them back. But I have requested them through Interlibrary Loan so I can do my deep dive on all of the SCASL books. That's the other 2 piles that I have over here. Anyway, I'm rambling on. That SCASL video is coming very soon. So we have 20 books on my TBR for March. Will I get through all of them? I hope so. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.